Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I wanted to talk about being careful when getting spiritual advice. Again, I reiterate on my YouTube channel with most of my videos that any advice that I give, any advice that anybody else gives, you need to thoroughly research it, okay? And also, you need to have your own relationship with your God so that your God can lead and guide you. A lot of times, when I'm looking at stuff on social media, it is not, um, it is not a, it's not me looking for an answer. A lot of times when I'm looking at stuff, it's more so of a confirmation of what God has already been telling me to do, or um, something God wanted me, a direction that God wanted me to go in, something God wanted me to talk about, something my God wanted me to do, okay? It's never a, it's never a way, or it should never be where you're seeking soul guidance, okay, from people, their message, or whatever it is that they use their platform for, okay? You shouldn't be looking to that person per se, okay? This is where, as people, whether you're a Christian, Buddhist, you follow the Muslim religion and practices, um, the thing that you have to understand is that there comes a point in every spiritual walk, no matter whether it's purely spiritual or religious, where you have to be independent, okay, of others. Meaning, you have your own relationship with God. Okay, there has to be a place of maturity, okay, where you start to cut out the middlemen, okay? And the middlemen are always the ones that say, "Thus saith the Lord." And like I said, there's no problem with that if it's being used as confirmation of what God was already leading you to do, okay? Um, and the reason why I'm saying this, okay, is that I think, especially people in the Christian church, um, I think we place a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of reverence and responsibility on spiritual leaders who preach and teach maybe the Bible, or again, if they follow other religions. We place a lot of responsibility on them spiritually. And some of the things, responsibility that we're placing on them, okay, you should never place on any man, okay? You should have a intimate relationship with God, okay, where you're putting that reverence, that honor, that respect only to God, okay? Is that saying you're not supposed to be respectful of whatever it is you want to submit to as far as religion? No, that's saying they should not be held in a place higher than your God, okay? So if I'm going to church looking for a word from God, okay, in a way that's kind of out of order, okay? depending on your thinking process. Now, if I want to come hear a word from God because God has been dealing with me with something, and I'm going to hear the confirmation of what He was dealing with me with, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. But it should never be the first time that I'm hearing it. Okay? And the reason why I say that is because there is a danger in doing that. Okay? It will cause you to create unknowingly, a lot of times, this is what people in religion do, okay, and other spiritual practices, is it will create a false god or an idol within your mind, okay, where you're always looking for this person to give you a man of word, and God is like, no, I can give you a man of word when you're taking a shower. You know, I can give you man of word when you're cleaning your house. Okay. So a lot of times it causes a false god, and um, it places a sort of spiritual responsibility on these people that really, no one is really responsible for you spiritually, okay? And this is something that you have to understand. You are responsible for yourself. You are responsible for working out your own soul salvation. Nobody else is responsible for that, okay? And the other thing that it does, which is dangerous, and this is something that I tell people, anytime you leave a church, you should do a process of mental, spiritual, and energetic separation. Okay. So when you leave any organization, okay, there has to be a process of mental, spiritual, and energetic separation. Okay. And it can be done in a loving way. This is to get the mind to understand that you're separated from this thing. Any word, thought, intention that this person is trying to cast my way, I never accept it. Okay? That's their words, that's their thoughts, that's their intentions. And this is for people, especially if you left an organization not on good terms. Okay? You want to go through the process of separation. So this is why I tell people it's important not to be dependent on that person mentally and spiritually. This way, the separation is easy. Okay? But when you depend on somebody like that, first of all, there are some pastors and people in Christianity who try to connect to you on a mental level that is spiritually, mentally, and emotionally inappropriate. Okay, I'm going to say that again. There are people within religion and other spiritual practices that will try to connect with people mentally, spiritually, energetically in an inappropriate way. Okay? And this is what I try to warn people about, okay? Because when you have people who have certain type of dangerous psychiatric disorders like narcissism, psychopath, sociopath, and the like, okay, and these people understand spiritual knowledge, you'll find that they'll take that abuse to the spiritual and energetic levels, okay? So, again, I warn, when you're dealing, if you're going to be in a church, if that's what you want to do, if you want to follow a certain religion and go to that organization's temple, whatever it is, understand that you need to be mentally, spiritually, and energetically protected. never allow, I don't care what title they hold before their name, after their name, never allow anybody to have certain types of access to you on the spiritual, mental, and energetic level. It's inappropriate, okay? It's inappropriate, okay? So you have to begin to protect yourself. And I have known, like, I don't have to say anything to anybody. When I notice that somebody's trying to connect with me on a mental, spiritual, energetic level, and I begin to cut them off, my respect, how I treat them is still the same. But how they treat me is a 180. Why? Because I'm cutting off access without saying I'm cutting off access, right? Once I started to realize this and that people like to do this, okay, I started to cut off access. Now, why is it important to cut off access? Okay, go research, and I may do a YouTube video about it. Go research transferring of spirits. Go research transferring of energy. A lot of times what happens, and this is why I be careful of what people are saying to me when I know God is telling me this, when somebody's telling me, oh, your sins are keeping you from the goodness of God. Oh, generational curses. Oh, those are illusions. Okay? Now, let me tell you what the actual truth is when you're dealing with people. And this is for people. I'm not talking about people. When I make that statement, I'm not talking about people who don't put in the time to do the spiritual internal work. Okay? If you're not putting in the work, then maybe those things might be a reality for you. Okay? I'm talking to people who know you've put in the spiritual work, and people coming to you telling you stupid stuff. And you looking at them like, how much work do I got to put in? Jesus Christ. Okay? I'm talking to you. Okay? Because some people don't want to do the work. They want other people to do it for them, which puts you in a position to be taken advantage of on the spiritual and energetic levels. So when somebody constantly telling me stupid stuff like that, and I know I'm putting in the spiritual work, what is actually happening is a transferring of spirits, okay, or a transferring of energy, or the transferring of somebody else's karmic debt. Oh, okay. This is why when people talk about, oh, karma this, karma that, but I've known people who transfer their karmic debt. I'm working out their karmic debt, and they going on with their life like they don't have a care in the world. But as soon as I start to purify myself and release that person energetically, mentally, and spiritually, guess what happens? Their karmic debt goes back to them. And my good karma, my good energy, my blessings, that which I have toiled for, meaning I have sowed good seed, so I should be getting a good harvest. Okay? You have to be careful and watch out for these spiritual and energetic vampires, these spiritual rats and mice. Okay? People do this on a spiritual level, and especially in the church. Okay? Just as nefarious as people are with mishandling church funds, you best to believe they're mishandling you on the spiritual and energetic level too. Where they see that you're planting good seed, and like a thief in the night, they come and they want to steal the good of your harvest and leave you the scraps. Oh, uh-oh. Yeah. You see, when I started to become spiritually on point with some of these people and what they were doing to me spiritually and energetically, I didn't There's no need to get upset. You don't have to go find these people, curse them out. You don't have to do no nefarious magic. All you have to do is redirect your spirit and your energy. Begin to dissolve the cords that connect and bind. Begin to untie the soul ties, okay? And allow that person to get away from you in peace, right? You see, and this is what I talk about when I say how people like to gaslight. And I remember one time I told somebody this, and then they came back with, because I told them, you acting like you don't know from whence your spiritual healing and your spiritual breakthrough is coming from. They honestly thought they were doing it on their own, not realizing that the whole time, even after they left, I was speaking positivity over their life. I was seeing good happening for them, and it was manifesting in their life. But being that you want to treat me like I'm the dirt bag, then I'm going to take back my energy. Not only am I going to take back my energy, but I call back all the good that I have created for you. Okay? Do not allow people to dishonor you openly, be disrespectful and dishonor you, okay? And then privately want you to work stuff out for them. We're not going to play them games. You must honor in everything that you do. You must be respectful in everything that you do. Okay? So when I started to call back the good that I have created for people, when I started to say, I release all this karmic debt because this is not mine to work out. I don't know why I'm even going through these changes. Because I do good toward people. I don't maliciously do things to people. If there's a misunderstanding, if you come to me, I always try to work it out peacefully, okay? Granted, if the person is coming to me in peace, okay? You can't come up to me trying to boss up like it's going to be a me and you situation, because I'm going to make it a me and you situation. But to those who come respectfully, I always try to be respectful and peaceful, right? This is what you're supposed to do, right? So as I began taking back my energy, the good that I have created for other people, okay, when I started calling back my good energy, my good karma, my good harvest, whatever you want to call it, these people started to go through all kind of stuff. And then somebody want to say to me, and let me tell you, the spiritual narcissist will always gaslight. Oh, you think the audacity of you thinking that you are like you were the one solely blessing me. No, I'm not saying I was the only one solely blessing you, but clearly I had a hand in it, because when I called back my energy, honey, you fell. Okay? Honey, you fell. Okay? You tumbled and fell. Okay? Into the same snares and traps that you were gaslighting me with. Okay? So that's just facts, right? When I was dealing with this person, I'm not saying that I'm God over you. What I am saying to people is that you can co-create with people. Right. This is why this is when you understand spiritual things, you don't allow people to tell you stupid stuff with a straight face. And it's like, yeah, you think you said something clever. I'm not saying I'm God over you. You were trying to say you were God over me, and I'm showing you who was the true creative force, and that don't sit well with you. Because this is how you know when people start trying to clap back like that, this is how you know they knew what they were doing. Okay, and this is what you have to be careful of, where people will try to attach themselves to you on the mental, spiritual, and energetic level, get you to come into contracts with them on the soulish level to work out their foolishness for them. And if you want to understand that, like I'm not making this stuff up, if you want to understand what I just said, go watch the movie The Wizard of Oz. Go watch that movie. That whole movie is about somebody fighting somebody else's enemy. And then after Dorothy fought the enemy for the so-called good witch, then she tells her, oh, she smiles like she's so nice and wonderful. Oh, you had the power to go home the whole time. Yeah, the power is within you the whole time to be free of those people or whoever's doing what, right? This is what God began to show me. Okay? If you want to understand that concept, really watch that movie. Watch that movie, The Wizard of Oz. And this is what is happening on the spiritual level, where people try to get you to go into soul contracts to work out their karmic debt because they have done so much on the spiritual level that is not right, that they have no escape from the foolishness that they have done. So what do they try to do? Trick other people to do it for them. And like they're coming so nice, this nice pastor and bishop, and what they're doing is trying to connect with you on the mental level to get you to work out something for them because they did so much wrong. And then you're going through things in your life and you're trying to figure out, why am I going through all of this? I'm doing everything right. So God, I had to seek God, and God had to start canceling all of them contracts, saying this is null and void. This is why I constantly tell people you must mentally, spiritually, and energetically protect yourself 24/7 so that your mind knows that when the thief and robber comes, that's exactly what they are, a thief and a robber, and God's word or whatever it is that you practice is supposed to lift up a standard against that one. Okay? And warfare against it. There are times in my mind, warfare against people. Sometimes people be looking at me with their face all screwed up. And then later I find out they witches. Later I find out they psychics. No, ho, you're not supposed to be trying to access me without my express permission. Anybody that does not get my expressed permission, conscious permission, meaning that you're trying to use some sneaky backdoor like a thief and a robber to get information on me that's none of your business, I have authority to attack. And that's what it is. Because in order for you to do that, you have to be on some low vibratory state. Because spirit guides, your ancestors, going to tell you this is not appropriate. And this is what you have to understand. And a lot of times when people are accessing you like that, you can sense, okay, especially if you're a highly sensitive person or an empath, you'll begin to download things about them. And this is what I'm talking about. This is why you have to be so very careful. Oh my God, you have to be so very careful when dealing with these things, okay? Because, like I said, people are just nefarious. They're just nefarious, okay? And they're not going to come to you. And when you start figuring out, they're not going to be like, oh, you caught me red-handed. I'm sorry. Nobody's going to do that. Don't expect that. Don't expect no apology. Don't expect anything like that, okay? And I'm saying that so that when God begins to reveal these people to you, don't even confront them. They know what they was doing. And when you start seeing or hearing that they going through certain things, don't rejoice in it. It just is what it is, okay? It just is what it is. Let that be a lesson to you not to do that to people, okay? Because if that person ever comes into an awareness of who they are in their God, You're going to be in trouble doing that type of nefarious stuff. But this is what happens. And when I started to realize that it wasn't, God was like, somebody was trying to tell me, oh, generational curses. God told me you broke every generational curse that there is to break in your bloodline. So what is this person talking about? Again, this is not saying that these things may not be so for somebody else who has not put in the work. But my God told me, you put in the spiritual work. So what is this person talking about? So what they were trying to do was download, okay, because this person was into witchcraft and voodoo and all kind of hoodoo type stuff, and they ran up on the wrong witch doing their nefarious stuff. They ran up on the wrong witch, and this witch got them by the neck, okay? Torturing them. Okay? So now they want to come bring that to me because they know I'm an empath, highly sensitive person, and they're trying to get some type of karmic transference of spirits. And I had to say, nobody, hold up. That is you. And I send that right back to you 300 times 3. And when I started doing that, immediately, the situations that I was in immediately corrected. Immediately. And I had to call back my energy from this person. And then I begin to see them go through certain things financially that I was going through. And I said, well, look at here. Look at this. My situation corrects and theirs now starts to decline. And I haven't confronted this person and told them that I was on to them. I just allowed God to lead me. I did the spiritual work and left them with their karmic bad debt. Ain't nobody told you be out here doing nefarious witchcraft and voodoo. And then when you run up on the right witch and she gonna show you, she gonna put it to you. Okay? And that's just what it is. Okay? Spiritually, some people are that bitch. They're 100% that bitch. Okay? Don't even play around like that if you don't, you know what I'm saying? Why would you even play around like that? But this is what I talk about when I say, like with the narcissist, I don't have to seek revenge from the narcissist. I know they're going to roll up on a covert narcissist that they don't realize is a narcissist. They're going to roll up on a covert narcissist that's going to put it to them. I already know that. I don't have to go tit for tat. I don't have to do things to drive the narcissist crazy. That's nonsense. I'm not going to lower my vibratory energy to play a game with somebody. Nah, you have to rise up to my level, boo. If you want to play, you need to rise up to my level, because if you rise up to my level, you in my element, you in my domain. And I'm going to handle you to let you know you have now reached my domain. Okay? Because 9 times out of 10, if somebody rise up to my level, they're not going to have that type of energy for me. They're not going to have, as they say, that type of smoke for me. So I'm not going to lower myself to drive them crazy. Hell to the no. No. I'm going to go on about my business because I know there's a bigger, badder bully out there for you. So I'm going to leave you to your own vices. And I'm going to go on about my business. Okay? And this is what you have to understand. This is what you have to start realizing. And like I said, they'll try to gaslight you. Oh, you think you God? Well, in a sense, I am. My God told me that the kingdom of God is within me. My God says, I don't dwell in the building. I dwell within you. So in essence, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Okay? Because that's what my Bible told me. I don't know what Bible other people reading, but that's what mine told me. And God sits on the throne in heaven in his kingdom. So if the kingdom of God is within me, then God is sitting on his throne or her throne, however you want to view it. And when you start talking to people like this, they start to realize the misstep that they made. okay, where they go to psychics and mediums trying to get information on you, okay, and then with a empath and a highly sensitive person, that can cause, if you don't know somebody's doing that, that can cause mental issues because your mind knows something is wrong and it keeps trying to tell you something is wrong if you're spiritually unaware. Okay? If you're spiritually unaware, your mind is trying to tell you something, but because you're spiritually unaware, it manifests as some type of mental illness, and it is not. Okay, everything is not a mental illness. A lot of times when people get themselves straight spiritually and energetically, all that other stuff clears up. So this is what you have to be careful of, where people are trying to access you mentally and spiritually to get information on you. No, 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 no. You're supposed to bring a firm stop to that and don't allow them to gaslight you. Don't allow them to gaslight you. Yeah, your God can restore you, but key word, your God. You're going to have to put in the work and let your God restore you, because the creative force in me is going to stay with me and only bless me. And who I allow to be blessed by that creative force. And it has to be a expressed permission, meaning they didn't try to get my permissible will. Go research that, okay? Like, it sounds like I might be saying random stuff, but it all ties in together, okay? Where people are trying to get permissible will. This is where I talk about the thief and the robber, okay? Research these things. No, you may not go through a spiritual back door to access me, okay? And then when I find out you're there and I begin to do warfare on you, then now I'm the bad guy. No, you're the bad guy. You never, and this is what I'm saying about these people. It is just not psychics, mediums, intuitives, and those people, but it's people within the church and other religious organizations that do this, where they're trying to mentally or psychically connect to you, emotionally, spiritually, energetically connect to you without your damn permission. Without your express permission, which means they're a thief and a robber. Look into these things. So now you have these so-called psychics and mediums. This is why I tell people, if you want to go to see a psychic, that's fine. But before you go in, you protect yourself. And after you leave, you say, this door is closed. This person's spirit guides, ancestors, familiar spirits, whatever they want to call it, cannot follow or have access to me after this point. This door is closed. Any attempt to do such thing is violation of spiritual law. And I will handle such a one aggressively. These things have to be law in your mind, body, and affairs. And I promise you, when they try, a standard will be lifted against them, meaning war will break out for them. And then they're going to be sitting somewhere mad. But most know you can't counter it. You can't counter that because you're in wrong standing. You can try, but they always lose. They always lose, and then they get mad, and they graduate to more nefarious things because they're losing. They're losers. No, stop doing what you're doing. A lot of times, what I tell people, if you would just stop right there, if you would have stopped with your foolery right then and there would be no problem or issue. But you want to be wrong and strong. Just stop right there. Just stop right there. Don't proceed. But you find, and this is what I was talking about in my witchcraft video, where I was trying to warn people where these witches and the like, okay, and not just witches. Witches aren't just, people who say they practice Wicca and other forms of spirituality that's not Christian or Muslim, okay? But they're in the Christian and Muslim community, okay? They're in the Christian and Muslim community among you, okay, that are Christians and Muslims, okay, doing a spell work. So if I tell people, if you just stop at that, doing your foolery, it doesn't have to go any further. Whatever bad energetic backlash that you have to get for misstepping, like sometimes when you made a mistake, you just have to take it and just move on. Just move on. How you gonna be wrong and strong too? This is what I don't understand. And this is what I tried to warn people about that witchcraft video where I said these witches will graduate, okay? These practicing nefarious witches will graduate to gang stalking, okay? Within their circle, they'll all start to gang stalk the person and do all nefarious stuff. And when you're trying to gang stalk, you're trying to come at the person at all angles. And I don't care what angle you come at me with, you're going to stumble and fall in the same traps and snares you set for me. For the same word that you're sending toward me, it returns back to thee 300 times 3. So you better be saying something nice and sweet, is all I'm saying. And this is why I try to get people to understand. You're not dealing with a spiritual rookie. You're not dealing with no spiritual rookie. Okay? I had to learn the hard way years ago in my early 20s, okay, about some of the stuff that people do on the spiritual level. They do wrong and then try to defraud you. They're making inappropriate mental, spiritual, and energetic connections and then try to defraud you. And I had to begin to disconnect myself from that. God had to begin to teach me. So I already have certain knowledge. I had to start reading up on that in my early 20s to educate myself. And I tell people I am now 45. Like, you're not going to run up on me any old kind of way, spiritually, mentally, or energetically, and not get knocked out spiritually, mentally, or energetically. As it is in the natural, so it is on the spiritual. You wouldn't allow anybody to just run up on you like they're about to harm you. No, I'm going to take out this 9mm and show you what it's really about. Okay? And that's just what it is. That's what it is, right? That's what it is. You're going to know that I'm protected by my God, okay? When you meet this 9mm and Jesus Christ in that order. So I don't play about that. So if I don't allow people to run up on me in the natural like they about to harm me, okay, I went through domestic violence. If that dude ever or any dude ever raised their hand like they about to hit me, they're gonna get that 9mm and meet Jesus, okay, for Jesus to let them know she was not the one. In that order. So if I'm not going to allow anybody to physically harm me in any way, what makes you think I'm going to let you do it mentally, energetically, and spiritually? No, I have authority and power to come against you, just like I have authority and power in the natural realm, okay, to defend my life. If I feel my life is in danger, and it has to be according to law in order for me to take deadly force, okay? If you feel your life is in danger, you can use deadly force if necessary. And that's what it is. So why do people think they can just try you like that? I don't know. I be asking myself that question. And again, they're going to gaslight, oh, you're trying to say, oh, when they made their misstep, and I explained to them, I said, look, I am a sexual assault survivor. When people do try to access me on the mental, spiritual, and energetic level without my permission, I'm going to respond strongly emotionally, not because I'm so triggered, okay, which in a way I am triggered, and it reminds me of that assault. Because spiritually, mentally, and energetically, I did not give you or whoever came to you permission. Permission was never given. I never consented. Consent was never given. So why would you try to violate like that and then try to gaslight after you're in the wrong? Because this person wants to say, oh, I didn't know you were in your personal hell. I didn't know you was in your personal hell, but keep that over there where you at. That's what I was doing, stupid hoe, before you tried me. That's what I was doing, stupid hoe, before you came and tried me. So now that you tried me and I had to boss up on you and savagely tear you down on the spiritual, energetic, and mental level, now you mad. But nobody told you to do that. Now you're trying to get people to do all kind of protection spells because I'm the big bad spiritual wolf. Nah, boo. I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to defend myself. And, if it was the other way around, that's what they would have done too. Okay? So this is partly to warn and partly to let those, goddamn psychic vampires, energy vampires, okay, harvest stealers, okay, know what's up. And I'm not going to put up with it, not in the natural realm and not in the spiritual realm, okay? And I'm telling you, these people are just going to continue to gaslight. Oh, you're saying you're God. Well, no, you're saying I'm God because you're using my energy, okay, to create for you. Don't use my energy. Don't be feeding on my energy if you claim that I'm not your God, okay? But if you keep trying to use my creative force, I have the authority now over you. And this is what you have to understand. This is why I tell people, do not allow people to co-create with you unless you're married to them. And you see what happens when the divorce happens. The same way you have to physically separate and divide assets is what you have to do on the spiritual level. And that's just what it is. And this is what my God taught me. Everything that a certain pastor in my past helped co-create for me through his prayer and meditation for me became undone when this person no longer saw me in the light, okay, of deserving that from him. Right? So I learned from that lesson. I tell people I've went through certain things. I've learned from that lesson. Never let anybody co-create. Anybody tell me they praying for me, I do not accept those prayers. I don't care whether they're good or bad. Whatever you pray for me, whatever you wish for me, whatever you think of me, that returns to thee 300 times 3. I don't accept it because I know how to pray and create for myself. I don't have to steal anybody else's life force in order to achieve it. So whatever they're praying for me, that's what they agree, that's what they want for themselves. And that's just on period. You must want that for yourself because it's going to boomerang back to you. I'm going to see to it that it does. Okay? I don't wait for the law of karma. I am the karma. It's going to boomerang back to you. So I hope whatever you thought, whatever you was thinking, whatever you was feeling, whatever you was doing, boo, it was something you wanted. Because I don't accept any co-creation from anybody except my God. Because when God gives it to me, it is permanent. I don't have to worry about if I have a falling out with this person, is all my business going to fall apart? No. I know it's not. Because my God gave it to me. My God, my creative force gave it to me, not theirs. And this is the difference. This is why I tell people, educate yourself. Educate yourself. Like a lot of times I say certain statements that seem random, but you have to understand I've been reading up on a lot of stuff for years. For years. Okay? Trying to understand what was going on with me. And when I finally figured it out, let me tell you, I was not kind or merciful to those who took advantage. And this is the danger. Once a person awakens spiritually, this is why I tell people you need to have, some type of morals or human decency when you're practicing certain spiritual practices. You need to have that because if a person awakens on the spiritual level, and this is why they don't want you to awaken to what's really going on. Once that person awakens, you're in trouble if you was doing nefarious stuff to them. Because I promise you, I was not kind. And again, I started to see anytime I start going through hardships, I go into deep spiritual warfare mode, where I'm locating in the spirit who? Again, this is for people who put in the spiritual work. If you don't put in the spiritual work, there's nothing I can say to you. Okay, I'm talking to people who actually put in the spiritual work. You plant good seeds, you should never get a bad harvest. Okay, and that's just what it is. Seed time and harvest is a spiritual principle. So if you planting good seeds, but you're getting a negative harvest, that is not correct. Something is going on here and you need to figure it out real quick. And don't let people gaslight you talking about generational curses and this, that, and the other. No. When people start telling me that, I start investigating them on the spiritual level. Like, hold up, God. Is it this person? Because this don't make sense. And this is for people who you put in the work. I have already exceeded at least 4 generations before me. Educationally, financially, I have exceeded 4 generations that were before me. So what generational curse? When this person was telling me, I was like, what are you talking about? And this is where you have to be on point. You have to be on point. And they will send these spirits, and these spirits will try to hover over you and like a man, okay? Where those connections that you're supposed to get romantically or in friendships, it does not want you to have. Why? Because it's feeding off of you. There's nothing wrong with being alone and loving yourself while you're alone or single. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that you have some type of, negative attachment to you, okay? But in some cases, this is true, okay? And you have to seek your God to really know if that's the case for you, because it's not always the case. Sometimes God separates you in order to cleanse, prune, and heal you. And that's okay. You're supposed to go through that process. But this is why you need spiritual discernment to know the difference when when you're going through different things in life. When something is normal, when God is trying to sanctify you, prune you, purge you, and heal you from past traumas, as opposed to something isolating you so that you don't have the right connections, because they're afraid the right connections will expose what was being done. But God allowed me to have the right connections anyway, to put me on to spiritual game. And that's just what it is, right? So, like I said, protect yourself. Protect yourself. And anybody that does this to you, and when you check them, they want to gaslight you again. You know, what you have to realize with these type of people is that they know that you are stronger than them. They know that you're stronger than them, so they cannot declare war on you face to face, or they can't let you know that they consider you an enemy and that they're doing things in secret to negatively affect you, because they know that you are stronger than they are. Okay? They know that you are stronger than they are. Okay? So you just have to get to that point where you realize this, where any strong or fortified city, okay, that is heavily protected, remember that they will send in spies. There are spiritual spies and there are natural spies. Okay? So understand these things, research these things. When I just throw these things out and I don't explain them, is because I want you to put in the work. Put in the work. Put in the work. Okay? Start putting in the work. Start researching these things. Start educating yourself about these things. Okay? If you're a Christian and they say Satan and demons are your enemies, why don't you study demonology? Why are you scared of that? You better go research that. You better go research everything about the devil and how it works. Research it. Learn it. Know who your enemy is. If you know who your enemy is and you know yourself, you will win 100% of the battles and the war. But if you know your enemy and you don't know yourself, you're going to win 50% of the wars. If you know yourself, but you don't know your enemy, you're still going to lose 50% of the war. I'm begging you. Number one, know thyself first, and then know thy enemy. Okay, that's all I have for you. I love you. Thank you for listening. If this has helped you, please share it. I don't mind, as long as you leave a link so that people can find the original video audio. And if you haven't, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.